campaign cash, and story can be found on pages 8 and 10. Other headlines in the newspaper: don't spare galamseyers. Akufo-Addo charges judges. MPP exposes NDC lies over cocoa prices is another headline. And man stones wife to death in Kaswa. Final story. Yes, it is. Desperate Mahama promising heaven when he gave Ghanaians hell is also another headline in the Ghanaian Observer newspaper.
Now let's take a look at the Ghanaian Times. The Ghanaian Times says 2018-2019 cocoa producer price politics. Government fumes at minority. That story is on page 16. Implementation of free SHS. Government building knowledge-based economy. That's coming from our vice president. And that story is on page 16. Restore confidence in banking sector. AGI urges Bank of Ghana. That story is on page 4. And finally, Justice Crab laid to rest at 95. That story is on page 16. May his beautiful soul rest in peace.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Anyway, jumping straight to the Herald newspaper, and trainee nurses allowances in 6 months arrears after last year's funfair. Hungry students boycotting health facilities. And that's the big story on the front page of the Herald newspaper, with a picture of President Nana Akufo-Addo with one of the students there on the front page. Also, Kotoka Terminal 3 stuns Emirates Vice President, and also pastors in Volta region join chiefs to reject OT region. PMMC staff wants MD sacked. And that story was widely covered on the City newsroom yesterday, if you caught a glimpse of it. And of course, also on 2020 news.
Now let's take a look at the Finder. The Finder has it here. The cocoa price is fair deal. The set record straight. That story is on page 2. Pregnant woman arrested for inserting objects into vagina of 8-year-old. That is a terrible, terrible thing, and I'm happy she was arrested.
Sad.
That story is on page 14. St. Teresa's Hospital at Nandom facing challenges. That story is on page 5. And finally, Ghana pays tribute to one of her greatest sons, Justice VCRAC Crab. That story is on page 8 of the Finder.
And jumping straight to the new Crusading Guide. Major headline on the paper: fight against corruption, government on track. Metogu anti-corruption report is quoted as saying chief runs for cover. Tension brews at Ayikai W, and our story is on page 10 of the newspaper. Abra Dunkwa attacks. President calls for calm as children go homeless, and you can see some rather fuzzy pictures on the front page of the new Crusading Guide. And in Trotroso, College of Nursing is boiling apparently. Oman Hene stands accused of meddling in academic activities.
Now let's take a look at the Independent. The Independent says, ignore rumors, your contributions are safe. That's coming from SNIT, and that story is on page 2. GHS supervises more abortion cases in 2017. That story is on page 2. And finally, allowances of national service personnel delays, also on page 2 of the Independent newspaper.
Jumping to the Gold Street business now, and asset declaration difficult and expensive to monitor. And that's coming from the Auditor General. You can catch glimpses of that story on the front page, and it's continued on page 2. Boteman affordable housing project is ready, says the Deputy Housing Minister. As to exactly how affordable that is, I'm sure the story will give you more details. Story on the front page and continuing on page 4. Give us time to comply with tax stamp. That is AGI appealing to the Ghana Revenue Authority, and a picture of Dr. Yao Edu-Jemfi, who is the president of AGI, right there on the front page. The story starts, of course, on the front page and continues on page 2. There are some other story headlines as well. Financial inclusion and development strategy currently before cabinet. And 62 girls to receive ICC training through MOC ATC collaboration. And finally, create values for shareholders. That's a CIMG boss to marketers. Story is on page 15.
Okay, now let's take a look at the Business and Financial Times. It says here, Awake Purified Water picks up Product of the Year award. That story is on page 3. Per capita GDP increases to $2,035 after rebasing, but has little effect on poverty. That story is on page 2 as well. Industry warns of job losses over tax stamps. That story is on page 2. And finally, Invest in Africa sets vision to create 100,000 jobs in 4 years as it celebrates its 4-year anniversary. That story is also on page 3. Now let's take a look at some online stories.
Yes, let's jump to the City Newsroom app. Some interesting stories there, and for those of you who don't have the app, you can simply just get onto your Google Play Store and download the City Newsroom app. It's very, very simple, and it's great. It gives you all the updates that you need through the day. Major headline stories: PMMC board chair denies claims of 700% allowance increase. Assembly members kick against partisan MMDCE elections. Secret assets declaration by public officials serves no purpose. That's coming from Domlevo. And of course, we are hopeful Special Prosecutor Office will be resourced soon. That's coming from the board chair. We've proven that Ghana's destiny is in safe hands. That's a headline from Nanado. And angry PMMC staff ask Nanado to sack MD and dissolve the board. Lots of other headlines also. Cocoa marketing MD accuses Ato Forson of conjuring figures on cocoa prices. And finally, Tony Edu says change of government in Ghana mean nothing. Very interesting stories there. And you can check out citynewsroom.com for all of those stories, as well as downloading the mobile app, the City Newsroom mobile app, and you get all the stories as and when they come in.
Okay, now we're going to introduce our guests. We're going to be joined by Michael Omare Wadia, who is the 3rd National Vice Chairman of the MPP, and of course, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu, who is also the National Women's Organizer of NDC. But in the meantime, we've been joined by Duke Mensah Opoku, who is our parliamentary correspondent and also the host of the press conference. Good morning, Duke.
Good morning, Jifa.
How are you?
Doing well. Second time on the set this week.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to have you. So we'll start with the first story: cocoa producer price politics. Government fumes at minority. So it says, I'm reading from the page 16 of the Ghanaian Times. It says, government has brushed aside allegations by the minority in Parliament that by maintaining the cocoa producer price of 2018-2019 season, it has shortchanged the farmers. And I'm going to quote the Deputy Minister of Agriculture here, he says, Honorable Kennedy, he says, given the price of exchange rate of 3.95, the total FOB value would be 9,904 Ghana cedis after the industry cost is then deducted before arriving at the net FOB, 70% of which should be the least farmer price. In 2016 and 2017, the net FOB was 9,812. So percentage paid to the farmers was 77.45%. He was responding to the minority who said, as I'm going to read briefly from Eric Opoku, who is the minority spokesperson on agriculture. He says, we wish to indicate that the reason assigned for the maintenance of the producer prices is highly unacceptable. The NPP government used an unrealistic exchange rate of 4.54 Ghana cedis, which is lower than the Bank of Ghana rate. The use of a lower exchange rate resulted in a lower rate, hence the lower prices. So, Duke, what exactly is going on? On the one hand, the minority is saying the majority is deliberately lowering the rates to maintain the price of cocoa for the farmers. And then the majority is also saying the free on board, which is the FOB. There's something going on with that, and that's why the prices have remained the same, although they should have decreased it. Your thoughts on that?
Well, we cannot overemphasize the fact that cocoa is a very important commodity for our economy. And the place of cocoa in Ghana's development is very, very special. I mean, and since time immemorial, cocoa has been political. From the colonial days when, I mean, people like Nana Free, you Free, Nkrumah and the rest led boycotts because they wanted to push prices up because the colonial government was not giving that. And even the transition even into independence, how the cocoa farmers helped with contributions to build the University of Ghana and and other resources like that, cocoa has always had a special place in the economy. It's sad that the industry has not been improved, and I say it's not been improved. I'm talking about not just the cocoa produce, but I'm talking about the value chain has not been enhanced to the extent that we can create many more jobs than we've created in previous past, and has much more significance for the economy in terms of real numbers, in terms of jobs and other things than what we've been practicing since Tete Kwashi introduced or helped us introduce that. Now, what are the facts? For me, I think that there are some things that no matter how they come, we should try as much as possible to detach the politics from it.
Right.
Okay.
That's how come this whole thing seems convoluted. We should detach the politics from it. I'll get to the issues that they are raising. But how about having an independent board? Independent board with indicators that are known to everybody. More or less like the deregulation that we have. But of course, farmers go through much more than petrol pricing, so there should be some safeguards. But how about having an independent board with clear-cut indicators with which they are supposed to calculate these prices that we have, so that everybody knows that at this point in time, this is what a farmer is supposed to get based on a calculation and then some government baseline of a safeguard for farmers because of the volatility of the international market prices. If we have that, we won't come to this place where now it has become political and political parties are playing politics with it. Yes, to the facts. It's a fact that a calculation that was done, and government says they got the figures from the Bank of Ghana, because it is something that is sold on the world market. Obviously, it's going to be in dollars. Therefore, be price, a Fed on board price. It's going to be in dollars, and exchange rate is a serious matter when it comes to these calculations. Currently, where is the dollar? Hovering around 4.8, 4.9-ish after going to about 5 cedis. And even the coming on board of the cocoa syndicated loan, which is cocoa money anyway, has helped calm the rates. Because, I mean, just about a couple of weeks ago, we were going to the 5s. But now we are looking at 4.8, 4.9-ish.
But the price were not set, they didn't set the price recently, right? So
I get that, but the price is announced at the beginning of every crop season. That's in October. So that's what
but it
government
was set months ago. That's what the majority is saying. That's what the Deputy Minister of Agriculture is saying.
It's based on the calculations that they've done, and nothing really has changed when it comes to the dynamics and the input that went into setting that up. If you get the point I'm making. So that is how come they've arrived at that. So it's a fact that the calculation was based on 4.5 instead of 4.8, which is where we are now currently. That's a fact. That's the point that the minority is raising. It's also a fact that cocoa prices for the past few years have not really gone up. We're from a point where we're around $2,800 per ton to where we are now, when it's just about $80 above 2,000. So that's $2,080. So based on what we have, it means that realistically, pushing up prices may be difficult because on the world market, the prices are not that up, or it's not that good, even compared to our neighboring
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, it's the same thing. But the issue is that are the cocoa farmers being affected by the challenges in the economy? Have things improved over the years so that we can say that, well, even if the prices are not going up, there are other safeguards. The previous safeguards which used to be there are now being even, let me say, quote, mutilated. CMB scholarship, Cocoa Marketing Board scholarship, is now being given to the sons and daughters of civil servants. So other cocoa bonuses, they are not there anymore. I think now it's being calculated and spread overboard. So gone are the days when our grandfathers and uncles will say that, oh, I'm expecting my bonus at the end of the year to come. Properly calculated,
but let's get back to the issue at hand. So the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Kennedy Osei-Nyako, said that the price of cocoa was actually $2,800 under NDC, but still they were paying them the same amount that NPP is currently paying them, even though the price of cocoa is actually $2,080. And last year they lost, I think we spent about $2 billion subsidizing, just subsidizing the cocoa. So what exactly is the problem with the minority if they didn't do anything about it during their tenure?
That's what I'm saying, that at a point in time with it, it's all politics, because at the end of the day, the global conditions are alive for all of us to see that these are the challenges. The thing is not going up. It's not as if it's gone up and they don't want to give them. But again, another key point which the minority also raised is the fact that even though the prices are not going up for the farmers, expenditure at the Cocoa Board office, the Cocoa Board head office, is steadily going up.
Right.
So if the farmers out of whose sweat we have this whole Cocoa Board structure there, they are not enjoying the benefits of whatever is going on. Why should we be pushing up factors at the head? So in as much as this is politics,
I find it ridiculous and very unfortunate that we keep going back to these same issues every single time, where we overly politicize partisan politics in this case. Some of these issues, which we know clearly are beyond the politics. They go beyond the politics, and we have to find a way to acknowledge that these issues go beyond the politics. We have to find a way to stop these sorts of conversations where in one term we blame one government, in another term we blame another government, when clearly these same people know exactly what is going on. And I think it's very hypocritical that we always come to these same issues. One party says one thing, another party says another thing. But the basic truth is, majority of the people, the cocoa farmers, the people who are walking the streets of Accra right now, do not even, number one, understand these basic issues. Number two, do not care, because the only thing that they care about is that things will not cost as much as they should. And I think that it's very hypocritical that we keep going back and forth, bouncing around these weird numbers and FOB prices and things like that. And we keep going back and forth about these things all the time. And Duke, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand, for the average person watching at home right now, what exactly is going on? If you can explain that. Because I think a lot of people really do not understand what exactly is happening.
Okay, so to break it down simply, these are the arguments. Cocoa prices over the past few years have not gone up.
Right.
They've not gone up. The price is actually plummeting. It's not gone up.
By 40%.
Yes, it's gone down.
They've gone down by 40%.
It's gone down. But cocoa farmers are really one of the, when it comes to the contribution, it's one of the mainstays of the economy. So the arguments of the minority is that even though the prices are at the same rate, because of currency factors, because of the fact that there is a certain premium which is being paid on a cocoa, which is even being doubted by the Cocoa Marketing Board, and other factors, the fact that generally conditions in the country are a bit harsh, at least, even on the basis of the exchange rate alone, about 35 more cedis could have been added to the current price so that they go a bit above that. But government is also saying, we all know the fact that over 2 billion last year was pushed into subsidizing that so that it could cushion farmers. In as much as there is a certain social motive trying to cushion people, we must not also do things that we've not budgeted for, which will end up affecting the country.
Money from elsewhere.
We did that with petrol up to the extent that up to a point it was unbearable again. We had to do deregulation. So that's all there is. That's why I'm suggesting that we should get to a point in time where cocoa should be depoliticized.
But Duke, let's take it a step beyond that. We are in a generation of Ghana beyond aid. We're talking about, Africa getting ahead.
It's an aspiration.
It's an aspiration. So why are we spending so much time talking about the very bottom of the global supply chain of cocoa? Why are we not refining our cocoa so that we can add more value to it?
That's what I pointed out right from the start. It's sad that we are talking about the same.
We're pretty much maintaining the colonial division of labor. Even this collaboration with Cote d'Ivoire that we're talking about, it's still kind of maintaining that colonial division of labor where we were still at the bottom of the supply chain.
International trade dynamics, one per se. Two, we've not been able to do what we are supposed to do with regards to the supply chain.
Why haven't we been able to do all these things?
It's failure on the part of successive government, and I pointed out right from the start that it's a bit sad that the same discussions we're having about the likes of Nana Free them in the 1900s, trying to stop the supply of cocoa so that they could push up the prices. It's the same kind of discussion that we are having today. Prices of cocoa, government buying cocoa, exporting to be processed into finished products, and
importing it back. So let's hear from our guests.
The same thing that we have in the studio Michael Mariwade, who's the third national vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party, joining us in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, Mr. Mariwade, why are we politicizing cocoa prices when we should really be talking about refining cocoa and getting more value from our raw materials?
That's a good question. Let me say good morning to our viewers. And I'm also very concerned about what has been going on in this country concerning cocoa and its prices, production and pricing. We as a nation don't, even though we produce the beans, don't control the price. Just as oil is determined by the white man sitting out there.
And we've allowed that to happen.
Yes. You know why? Because we have failed to bargain. We as the producers have failed to bargain. Sometimes, yes, we allow ourselves, just like going to any farmer. The farmer, even though produces the plantain, the cocoyam, the cassava,
the mangoes,
does not
everything.
determine how much he or she will sell the produce for. It's the buyers who determine. Or the traders. But if the farmer decides to pound fufu, open his or her own chop bar, and pound fufu, he will be able to sell and make more profits. That is processing. But over here, what do we do with our beans? We process less than 1%. And the rest is determined, the price is determined by the buyer.
But we know the problem. Why aren't we finding the solution right now?
The solution is what Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, is attempting or trying to do. And I know he will do it before he leaves.
What's the solution?
He says we should refine, we should process what we produce and export a finished or semi-finished product outside. That is the only way.
But it's one thing to say that that's what you want to do. But what practical and realistic steps are we taking?
I am aware of about 4
happens?
companies. I am aware personally that wants to come and process. But it has to go through, you don't just get up one day and decide to come and set up a company. Even to order or to get the plants that you use to process, you may have to order.
Is it possible for you to give us an idea of which companies these are? If it's
you want to know where they're coming from or the names of the company?
Well, where they're coming from,
I know of an American company, I know of a Chinese company, and I know of an European company. They all have submitted proposals, and they were asking the tonnage that we produce. I am aware, and they were asking the controls that we have, because they wouldn't set up the company and can't get the beans to buy.
But I mean, they will have a good idea of some of these figures before they decide to want to invest.
Yes, but you need to do research. That's why I'm saying they have come for, and I am aware of discussions going on at different levels. Yes, where to site it, how to get the beans, what kind of processing, what to do with do we export the butter, the powdered form.
But Mr. Mariwade, how different are these companies from, for example, Cadbury Brothers, what they were doing to us in the early days before independence, right? We're talking about empowering local businesses. As it stands right now, even local chocolate producers can't get access to raw cocoa in a country that's one of the top producers. But no, they've sold it, actually. If you speak to the guys at JEPA, they'll tell you, before we even entered the year, outsiders have already come for the raw beans that they will export. So local businesses actually don't have enough raw cocoa to produce the chocolate that they need. So why exactly do we have these problems? And you're listening to all manner of foreign companies who want to come in. How are we empowering local businesses?
I am also saddened by that because there are several businessmen in Ghana here who can equally set up this business.
So why aren't we empowering them to, refine these cocoa so that we make the money?
If you come forward, we will support you.
So nobody has approached you?
Ghanaian. I think it's only Nana Kunadu. Even that one, she partnered some. Because it's difficult to raise money here in Ghana. You know it. To raise that $100 million to set up a processing plant.
So why aren't our politicians having these conversations instead of talking about cocoa prices? Some
people believe that somebody said that we easily forget that we have weak minds or something like that some time ago. So they will always play on the mind. Instead of looking at the issues and coming up with solutions, they will only come out to say, when we come, we will review.
Well, that sounds very much like every political party within the last decade.
Instead of discussing the real issues and finding solutions,
so let's
we
discuss
want to go just to play on people's minds.
Well, Honorable,
I'm sitting here telling you what we are doing and what I prefer should have been done. That you, the two of you, put your heads together, put your resources together, set up a cocoa processing plant. Just start feeding Ghana before you realize West Africa, Africa, and beyond.
Okay, so we'll continue the conversation. We are discussing government fumes at minority over claims that they are not being fair to our local cocoa farmers. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Remember to keep those comments coming with the hashtag
Breakfast Daily. And
the WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. Don't go anywhere. News review continues.
Hello and welcome to another day, another week, and of course another episode of 30 Minutes. We're excited and we will be talking about all the trending conversations. Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you.
Shatta, why are you being so raw and hard like that? But at that particular time, that's what I wanted to do it. But that doesn't mean you are my enemy.
That's true.
We can still meet again and Shatta, this time we are about to do, don't come and do that nonsense. Okay, please, I won't do it. And we'll give respect to each other. But sometimes I feel, when we are all humans. When somebody says something about me, Shatta, hey, no, I might want to say something.
Yeah.
So, but when I say it, people shouldn't take it like, taking things, personal and stuff. I've understood showbiz now, and I really want to work on it.
30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. My name is Philip Ashon, and of course I'm here with Jifa. And this morning, of course, we are just delving into the news review, looking at some of the major stories that are making the headlines. But then, of course, you do know that there's something special coming up this weekend, and you can be a part of it as well. Very, very simple. All you need to do is answer some very simple questions. Number one, first question is, who is the headline act for this particular event that's coming up?
MTN Stands in Worship. Yes.
And of course, if you can name one song by the headline act, just send it to our WhatsApp number, or you can, tweet at us using the hashtag Breakfast Daily with the answers, and you can grab yourself a ticket to this particular concert.
The WhatsApp line again is 0550-585-832. Before the break, we were discussing the government's response to what the minority claims as they are not increasing prices of cocoa to our local farmers. Let's just get your closing remarks on that and move on to the next topic.
Well, I think we must find a way to determine the prices of the goods, the farm produce that we have in this nation. And we are on course collaborating with Côte d'Ivoire. I believe that, and then also attempting to process some of the produce here. We'll also dry up the raw beans market out there. And we believe that this can also help. We don't determine the prices of cocoa. Government buys from the farmers and sell to people out there. and they determine the prices. Now they are buying from us at, I think, $2,000 per ton, and instead of to almost 3,000. It went as high as almost 3,000, and now this is how low we have come. Last year it was same, and this year too same. Abidjan dropped their prices last year. This year too same. They dropped it further, but we maintained. At least we know what the farmers go through. We know what they do, what they mean to us. So we will not drop. As we speak now, Abidjan is selling about 550 Ghana less than what
but
we
I
sell.
also, I mean, really, we need to be fair to Ghana. Ghana is the first sub-Saharan African country to gain its independence. It's not fair to us to continue, comparing ourselves to what our neighbors are doing. I think our farmers deserve better. We shouldn't say because
yes, they deserve better, but we buy and sell. Unless, of course, you are saying government should buy, sell less, and then add some of the taxes we collect on it for the farmers.
Because you do realize the reality on the ground right now is some farmers are actually leaving cocoa to engage in rubber because they don't find it.
Cocoa, you know what is interesting? You have not been to the grounds lately. Yes, cocoa, the cocoa. Until recently, cocoa, an acre of cocoa plantation will give you, cocoa farm will give you 4 bags, 3 to 4 bags. Today, they can do up to 25 bags.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. That's a great place to end the conversation. Okay, so the next topic
Our fear is, as we are going to produce more, the international community will say, oh, oversupply, so they will drop the prices further.
Okay, so I'm reading from the Business and Financial Times. It says, industry warns of job losses over tax stamps. Over 1,500 people could lose their jobs if Ghana Revenue Authority does not allow some manufacturing firms to resume production while they take the steps to comply with the tax stamp policy. So Dr. Yahweh Dujemfi is speaking, and he says that without recourse to the tax stamp implementation arrangement and process update that the beverage manufacturers have been given, the GRA and Ministry of Finance, the GRA task force on Tuesday, October 2nd, stormed the premises of some AGI beverage manufacturers unannounced, restricting the movement of products from the factories to sale outlets. So they're saying that some of the businesses are doing the best they can to abide by GRA's laws, but just, closing down their shops might actually affect 1,500 jobs.
And further to that, in the Gold Street business, Mr. Dujemfi is quoted as basically saying that the producers basically need to be given some more time to comply with this tax stamp issue. And Mr. Wade, I'm just wondering, what exactly is going on with that? Is the government ready to listen to the AGI? Because these are the local players. They deal with the producers. They deal with the industries. Why is there not a better conversation with them, since they are the ones who are dealing with these industries and these companies?
First of all, let's look at what the tax stamp is. It's a tag or a sticker that is pasted on locally produced goods. And they brought it up to control the importation of foreign goods. They want to identify every product. They want to know that the product that you are consuming was produced here or imported, and that taxes, the appropriate duties and taxes on them are. Now, this act that they are implementing was passed in 2013. How many years now?
About 5 years.
5 years.
And people are still asking for more time. You get it? They started implementing. When did you hear this? At least for the later part of last year to this year, people are still asking for time.
Yeah, but you don't show up to their shops unannounced.
You and I are Ghanaians, unannounced.
Yeah.
Oh. After 5 years,
Yes.
we show up in your shop and they say, before we come to your shop, we should tell you that we are coming, also close your shop and hide. You and I are Ghanaians. You know our usual strategy, attitude, and you need to push people to get them to conform. I'm sad. I'm worried about the traders do, but sometimes that is what you have to do to get people to conform and comply with rules and laws. It saddens me. I've heard about their cry.
Yeah, and they've said here that they've done all the necessary steps. They've ordered the machines. They've shared all this with the government. So they're actually showing you that we've purchased the tax stamp machines. We need a bit more time. If you've been able to wait for 5 years without doing your job, or actually closing them down, why can't you wait a couple of more weeks or months for them to do the right thing? Because jobs are going to be lost in all of this.
The machine. What is stopping you from operating the machine? But we come and say, yes, we're going to buy the machine. Fix the machine and start the machine. Then you say we should give you more time. Meanwhile, people do that so they can evade taxes. You and I should know and understand. This tax stamp is supposed to prevent the small illegal importation of these products. And people still have stocks that they did not pay.
Okay.
If I don't know which product will come and stay in Ghana for 1 year and still will not have that stamp.
So what are we going to do about the job losses?
Let them correct. Me, I will plead with the ZRA people. If their concerns is genuine, let's bend more for them. At least they are asking for, I don't believe they are asking for more than 1 month. I don't believe if they have purchased the machine, it will take more than 1 month to wind and start them.
Yeah, because they've closed down 15 manufacturers. That's a lot of companies.
That's what I'm saying. They should relook at the issue. If really and truly they have the machines installed and they are just waiting for time to. And these machines are. We don't wind them.
They've ordered the machine.
If I may ask as well, it happens often, these situations where one grouping is agitating that not enough consultation has been had or not enough information has been given. And I'm just wondering, with AGI, for example, in this particular situation, what form of conversation has been had between the bodies
you are
involved?
aware that even before they started the implementation, there were several agitations and consultations. They even stopped the implementation for some time. They said they needed time to understand the concept, and everything has been
But that's a genuine concern.
At the point, the government decided to even import the stickers so they can affix them on the brands, if you remember. And then they said they gave them 6 months. After 6 months, we will not import again. You have to do it. 6 months passes and still.
So you're saying AGI doesn't have a case?
Well, I am not saying they don't have a case. Possibly, some way, somehow, some of these, Ghana, sometimes people want to.
But let's be optimistic. Let's give them the benefit of a doubt, right? Because they could genuinely want to be protecting the jobs of regular Ghanaians. Because if you're closing down their shops, if you're closing down 15 shops, who's going to compensate the workers?
Government will want to protect jobs. Government also will need revenues. And if we are hiding behind non-fixing or non-starting of your product, your machine that will fix it, and dodging and putting some brands in the market that are taxes have not been paid on, government will also be smart, just as you want to be smart. We'll be smart to tell you, okay, if you are not ready, then let's close down till you are ready. Because we have to check how much you are producing and how much you are to pay.
Okay,
thank you. It's a cat and mouse.
So which one wins in this case? Considering the fact that all these companies have had to close down and your revenues are not coming the way they are supposed to, who exactly wins after this cat and mouse game?
And in the long run, they will agree, and then everybody, it's a win-win situation. Because yes, if they don't go through, I don't know if you have any other suggestion that we have, like we've told you. The law was passed 5 years ago. We started implementing over a year ago. You requested for time, we are not ready. Government imported the thing for you, use it for 6 months. After 6 months, start doing it yourself. 6 months passes, and you say you have just purchased the machine. You are yet to press the knob to start them. So
they didn't say it that way.
Oh, they are yet to start them.
But they didn't say it that way.
That's a very simplistic way of putting it, though. But yes, your point duly noted.
Is AGI being a bit unreasonable? Because government is actually paying 50% of the cost, right? So really, how long does it take for them to do the right thing?
To press the knob to start the machine.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we are here, in the sense that for an industry that, based on the figures that we got from the managers of the economy last year, manufacturing did quite well. It was a huge, movement up from what had, in terms of their growth last 2016, 2017, the figures really looked good. So for an industry or a sector of the economy that is growing, or that is getting some form of growth spurt, for me it's unfortunate that this would become an issue. I say it's unfortunate because the GRA has engaged quite a lot on this matter. Apart from that, there's also been a certain tax amnesty which was passed in Parliament and has been on for quite some time now and has elapsed. So they are going in now. So for me, it's unfortunate AGI could not take advantage of all of that process to get all their issues and grievances resolved before it kicked in. The matter of raking in revenues and the fact that bringing in revenue has always been a challenge. That's why I've been to coordinate efforts. The IRS, which was there, the SEPs and all the others, have had to be put together as GRA, so that all the revenue effort now would be coordinated, so that the best out of the taxes. It's not so many, and it's one of the defects of our system. Not so many people are in the tax net. So the net is smaller but deeper. It's not being lighter and wider.
Is this a good enough excuse to show up to these shops unannounced, knowing fully well
it's not.
jobs could be lost?
If you say unannounced, what does that mean? Because there was a certain period, and that period has elapsed. So if you have not satisfied the due requirements, what is unannounced? You get the point. And for me, it speaks to a certain culture where, over a long period of time, the GRA has not been very particular about some of these things, like, oh, come and file your tax returns, come and file this, come and file that, come and file that. Though people find creative and genuine, I don't want to use, but I don't say ingenious, but this is disingenuous.
But
disingenuous ways of avoiding the tax.
Is supposed to protect even the local producers.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's supposed to protect those industries, because there are certain products and brands that are also produced outside. People will bring them in. And they won't pay the duty. At the end of the day, they come and sell cheaper than what is produced here, because you producing here pay the duties and taxes on them. So to identify those items that were imported without duties, or to differentiate between what has been produced here by you, the local producer, and the one who smuggled in from Togo or wherever. We say put this stamp so we can identify.
But Mr. Myra,
even for the purposes of checking,
that even GSA,
quality
FDA,
assurance and the quality
these
of
regulations always
products.
come out, they complain, and we still find products that don't bear the stamps on the market. Right? So if you as a regulator, you're not doing your job, and every year you come out, you talk, you don't do anything.
But that's
is it enough to just wake up one day and say, I'm finally going to do my job?
The GRA goes to the market. They see products without stickers, and they trace it to your factory. They want to arrest because they have not been paid. The duties on them have not been paid, and then it comes out that you are producing. So how do they determine those that have been produced here and the fake ones, or those that came in through unapproved routes and duties not paid?
Okay,
it is to protect you. So help government to help you.
But finally, on this matter, though, I think that, in as much as it's a good direction that the GRA is taking, we should tamper justice with mess, because there are Ghanaians involved in. there should be a special arrangement for them to continue to still engage.
I mean, listen.
For them to continue to still engage, because 1,500
almost every time. There are always Ghanaians involved.
Philip,
if Ghanaians weren't involved, we won't be in this situation
but
in the first place.
These are not individual companies. I mean, they are coming under the umbrella of AGI,
right.
which is a very key, is a key stakeholder,
absolutely,
part of our business community. I think that they should engage at that level. At least there should be some grace period after the grace period, maybe a month or say 3 weeks, for them to put all of those issues so that we have agreed that after this point,
what stops them from further increasing the grace period? Because if we do not take a stance, in my opinion, if we do not take a stance to say that this is the end, get it working, how are we ever going to move forward? But
the job losses, already we are really under the effects of the banking sector crisis and other things. Some of the textile companies and all of the laying off workers and the rest. This is not, and it is not as if the companies are insolvent or they are going down. If there's a resolution to this matter at a certain point, the jobs can be saved.
What is the government doing about
these jobs? I think they can be engaged.
Because it's one thing to clean up sectors and another thing to put in policies to seek, a safety net for people's jobs.
Let me tell you something. When they talked about the job losses,
and I'm not just talking about this, but just across board.
Across board.
A lot of people are being unemployed
like my brother was saying, let me deal with that one first. You are not paying taxes. We say, correct this one and start production. And you tell me you are going to lose workers for 1 month or for 2 weeks. It's something that we all need to understand. It's one of the games that businessmen play.
Oh, really?
Oh, I am a businessman.
So you're speaking from experience?
Oh, yes. So sometimes you always have to. I'm a Ghanaian too. You always have to find a way to excuses to dodge some of these things and make sure you make more. But, well, like I said, let's look at, I will plead with the GRA people. If their concerns are very genuine, let's find a way to, even you can position officers there, or if you can get the stickers for them to affix till their machines are ready, we can make it better. But for the job losses, government too is losing revenue. And so which one should we, government revenue, or but the jobs will not be. But we are saying that he was talking about general job losses.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about any other apart from maybe the banks that you may be referring to. Consider it the
and textile industry as well. I think we've lost over 3,000 jobs.
Textiles, when? Since when?
Oh,
no,
over the decade.
I mean,
a lot of these GTP,
quite a number of them.
ATL, they've all had to sign.
With all this
importation.
And then we are saying I'll fix the fixed stamps so we will know that the imported, because the people, there are people who trade between Ghana and Togo.
Beyond
they
the fixing
call
of
it
the
Togo,
stamp.
you know it.
Beyond the fixing of the stamp,
Togo.
like Jifa was mentioning a couple of minutes ago, beyond the fixing of the stamp, we do know that these products will still come into the country. What measures will there be to ensure that these other products do not come into the country? Because they will come. And as a consumer, whichever one I'll find I'll pay less money for is the one I'll purchase, irrespective of whether it has a stamp or not.
That is true though. But what
that is
will
very
help?
True.
Yes. But yes, I'm still a Ghanaian. I know.
Can you stop saying?
but yes, yes. You and I are.
Can't run away from that.
Yes. But what government does or will be doing is they send people unannounced to the shops. They can always track, identify. You may be a buyer. One day you may be recruited by government to identify products that duties are not paid on. You will know, and then you will start arresting. When people know that their goods and wares are being seized, they will stop. So there are measures, there are systems and structures that government can use to block and make sure local production goes high and government gets the revenue that they need. The textile guys I heard were complaining some time ago. I think we need to look at the whole textile industry, reform the textile industry. If I don't know which farm or farmer or which region produces cotton these days in Ghana, but if you know the number of the quantity of cotton that is produced by Burkina Faso and exported. Sometimes they drive from all the way from here to Burkina.
So why aren't we doing that? And we're just talking about one district, one factory.
We are talking about planting for food and jobs too. Have you heard that one? Yes. So those.
But why aren't we producing the cotton?
Well, the cotton industry almost died, collapsed.
You just talked about Burkina Faso. Why aren't we doing it?
Even the planting, farmers. You see,
I'm talking about the government now, not the farmers.
No, the government has initiated something.
No,
we are doing the one village, one dam. You know what is that for? We are doing the one village, one dam.
What are we actually doing right now to solve this issue? We've identified with the cotton industry now.
If you drive from here
almost 2 years in, what are we doing?
If you drive from here to almost 2 years, we can't do everything. Yes, but if you drive from here to my hometown, left, right, you see this land, forest, bushes. They can, all these lands you see can produce something for you.
We know what they can do, but what are they actually doing right now?
That I don't have a job. Meanwhile, the lands are there.
Really? So
now we are encouraging, that's why we came out with this planting for food and job. The National Service guys are all being introduced to farming. I tell you, farming is one of the most lucrative, lucrative. But you put one grain of...
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next topic because you're deviating.
So the final story, NDC executives hijacked 2016 campaign cash, and these are the words of Kojo Bonsu, who is a presidential hopeful. The flag bearer hopeful of the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, Kojo Bonsu, has suggested a total overhaul of the leadership of the party. According to him, the party's leadership is to blame for the NDC's 2016 unprecedented election defeat, calling for the election of a new set of leaders ahead of the 2020 polls. According to him, the party lost touch with the grassroots, and that the leadership is to blame for failing to coordinate the top hierarchy with the grassroots properly. He says, I'm referring to the organization, the Central Party, the constituency executives. That is why you realize there is a tsunami from the top of the party down. Most of the people lost their positions. It is because they were not doing their work effectively. He also goes on to say things about campaign cash being hijacked. And Duke, you were very active within.
We'll come to you
within during the election period. I'm just wondering how some of these comments come to you.
Well, we're in a period. We're in that period, and what I mean by that period is that the NDC is going through the phase that the MPP went through in 2009.
Yeah.
Yes. So there are a lot of fragments, and all sorts of issues come up. Depending on how you manage it, that's when who wins the fight for the soul of the party at the end of the day. So some of these things are normal. They would come up. What I would say is that at the end of the day, as a country, as a democracy, we need strong parties, either in government or in opposition, because the politics determines the direction of countries, at least for the kind of governance system that we've chosen.
Yeah.
Whatever challenges are, I wish them a smooth process. I wish them a good process, the election of a good candidate, blah, 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 and the rest. Kojo Bonsu has some, credentials under his belt with which he comes to this position. I wish him all the best.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Mr. Mariwade, briefly, I know this is in your party, so just wish them well.
I'll always wish them well. But we told you, Mahama said campaign monies were stolen. Kojo Bonsu has added his voice. They stole the money that was meant for their own campaign. Now, if the money that was supposed to be used for their campaign for them to keep staying in power was consumed by, then can you imagine what happened to our
money at the back of National Vice Chairman of
we told you
so. Mensa Okoto, who is our parliamentary correspondent. Now, we've received some comments from you, so we'll read that briefly. Paju from Big Shoe near Kwadaso says, Ghana Education Services to reduce subject studies at the basic education level from 2019-2020 academic year is long overdue. I would be glad if the number of subjects is whittled down to some relevant 4 or 5 maximum. This will help the kids to identify their own potentials and work towards realizing them. Hi to Mame Sad Soja of Kwadaso.
And from Junior Tiero of Akrokeri. He says, Akrokeri, the show is loud and clear at Akrokeri. Keep it up. Hi to Chairman Akwesi Intia Samoa, aka Chief of Staff, the only junior Tiero Shata, the whole of Ghana. Final message here, Michael Amaning, actually messaging from the UK, I believe, says, if the former appointees of JDM might have discharged their duties creditably and their hands are clean, then why is Asiedu Nketiah and his NDC crying foul and panicking and making preposterous allegations against the government of President Akufo-Addo and generating fake forensic reports? The government of President Akufo-Addo, unfazed with the ugly noises by Asiedu Nketiah and his NDC apparatchiks, because President Akufo-Addo is committed to fighting corruption. So all those former corrupt appointees of JDM should embrace themselves for persecution.
Wow. Now remember, we are still giving away tickets for MTN Stands in Worship. Just let us know one of the headline act and the song by the headline act that you know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550 585 832. Do not go anywhere. Breakfast Daily continues.